Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to the Flying Fluffy Football live stream uh, from yours truly, covering the aftermath of last night's NFL opener between the Cowboys and Eagles and previewing the Dolphins versus Colts game on Sunday, along with a few general thoughts on all the other matchups taking place this weekend. So, right off the bat, there is some Dolphins news that is rather disappointing. Miami Dolphins tight ends Darren Waller is doubtful for the team's season opener after sustaining a hip injury earlier this week. He suffered a hip strain before Wednesday's practice and exacerbated it the following day. He did not participate at practice either day and is not expected to play Sunday against the Colts, which means what does our tight ends room look like right now? Hey, maybe this opens up an opportunity for Greg Dulcich to start. So it's so Darren Waller is doubtful to play in the game on Sunday. Hey, spaceman, how you doing? So yeah, let's talk a little bit about last night's game. No defense whatsoever in the first half, and next to no offense in the second half. It turned into a rather ugly win for the Eagles, one where Jalen Carter got ejected after 6 seconds of game time for spitting on Dak Prescott. Bro, it's how do you get so worked up that you spit on the opponent's quarterback? So right now it's Jalen Carter. The big names being talked about from last night's game are Jalen Carter, and CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, who had a couple of brutal drops to end the Cowboys' last drive, and yeah, it's really it was unfortunate for the Cowboys and fortunate for the rest of the NFL that CeeDee Lamb developed stone hands at the worst possible time. And apparently, CeeDee Lamb shouldered the blame for the loss to the Eagles. He said, quote, "Man, that's terrible. Honestly, I feel like I can't point no finger at anybody else." Jalen Carter also apologized for spitting on Dak Prescott. He said, quote, "It was a mistake that happened on my side and it just won't happen again. I feel bad for my teammates and the fans out there. I'm doing it not being able to start the game, even finish the game. It effed me up, but we're going to get it better. It won't happen again. I can make that promise." Prescott Dak Prescott characterized the situation as a misunderstanding that escalated, saying he frequently and spit ahead to avoid his lineman while watching Carter mess with rookie guard Tyler Booker. He said that Carter asked, "Are you trying to spit on me?" and that he took offense to the notion. "I wouldn't spit on somebody," Prescott said. "I stepped, though, and I actually said the words like, 'the hell, excuse me,' but probably even more colorful. What would I need to spit on you for?" And he just spit on me in that moment. More of a surprise than anything. So, I guess I should look at the schedule. So tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern is the Kansas City at LA Chargers game, but it's taking place in Corinthians Arena, Sao Paulo, Brazil. So that game is going to be free to watch on YouTube, and Tom Grossi is going to be covering the game broadcast live and will actually be allowed to show the footage from the game. So Chargers Chiefs. I've noticed that Kansas City has a tendency to lose. Week 1 opening matchups. And I think the game being played in Brazil, the turf might not be the best. So I think I'm going to pick the Chargers to beat the Chiefs on tonight. And then on Sunday, we've got Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I'll pick the Buccaneers to win that one. Cincinnati at Cleveland. That should be an easy victory for Cincinnati, as long as the Cincinnati defense does not fold under the might of Joe Flacco. Miami, the Dolphins are playing at Indianapolis against the Colts. Miami should win that game, and it should not be even close. Like, the Colts are starting Daniel Jones as their quarterback. What do they have in terms of actual threats? Like Jonathan Taylor is like the biggest worry the Dolphins should have, because the Dolphins' run defense was really not good last year. Hopefully our defensive line can make the stops against the run. Las Vegas versus New England. Well, that matchup became a lot more interesting because Amari Cooper was supposed to have an important primary wide receiver role, and he retired. So I'd say the Raiders and Patriots game might be a very close affair. I think something tells me the Patriots are actually going to win that one. Then you have the Cardinals and Saints. Cardinals will probably tear the Saints to shreds. And then the game I definitely would be watching if if the Dolphins game wasn't on at the same time is the Steelers at the Jets. And I'm probably going to give the edge here to it's going to be tough because the Jets defense should be good, and they might give Aaron Rodgers a hard time, but Justin Fields does have the ability to at least keep the game going. I'm going to say the Steelers and Jets game is a coin flip that could go either way, to be honest. Then you have the Giants playing at the Commanders. The Commanders should get an easy win there. Then you have the Carolina Panthers at Jacksonville. That's going to be one of the more intriguing matchups because of the direction both teams have been taking. Let's see. I think the Panthers are going to win that one. Something tells me. Then you have the Titans at the Broncos. Broncos should win that easily. San Francisco at Seattle. Something tells me that that's a potential upset victory for Seattle because Christian McCaffrey is back on the injury list with some calf issue, and if CMC is injured again, it could get a very rough, very fast for the 49ers. Then you have Detroit at Green Bay. I say the Lions get that win. Houston at the Rams. I'd say that is a potential upset win for Houston because if Matthew Stafford is struggling with an injury and the Houston defense can get any sort of consistent pressure on Stafford, it could force Stafford to make uncharacteristic throws and cause him to turn over the ball. So I'm picking Houston. And then Baltimore at Buffalo Sunday night, which me and Jaws will be streaming that Sunday night's game along with the Dolphins game. I'm going to pick the Bills just because it's the home game. It's a home game for the Bills and Bills Mafia. Then you have the Vikings at the Bears, and I have a feeling the Bears might actually get the upset victory there. We have no idea what to make of J.J. McCarthy yet. So yeah, that's what I've got for the schedule. And I'm very interested to find out how the game between the Dolphins and Colts goes, because that's Dolphins Colts game. I am going to say is the litmus test for if the Dolphins are going to get the lucky breaks and get the clutch performances that they need. So I just want to ask. I just want to ask if there are any technical issues going on your guys' end. I've noticed there's only I've noticed there's only a handful of people watching right now. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any sort of buffering or missing audio or something. Yes, Pacharo, we are going to live stream the Bills Ravens Sunday night's game. That is going to be can't miss football. So yeah, on Sunday at 1 o'clock, Jaws and I will be streaming Colts Dolphins, and then the Sunday night's game is at 8:20. So we will see you. We will be seeing you guys twice. We will be seeing you twice. On Sunday. Give me 1 second, folks. So, if you guys had any predictions for how the games tonight on Sunday and Monday go, what would be your predictions for all those games? All right, so yeah, the Dolphins this week played, and I guess I should take a look at the Colts roster and see what it is that we're actually up against. So the Colts depth chart here. They got Daniel Jones. They got Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback, and then of course they have Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor as the running back, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and Alec Pierce are the wide receivers. Tyler Warren is the tight end. And then for the defense, they've got guys like DeForest Buckner, Quiddy Pay, Chavarius Ward. Yeah, there's Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard is their right corner back on a base 4-3 defense. So now comes the part of the season where the Dolphins find out can the new look Dolphins defense outperform one of the most mediocre defenses in the league that's just recently acquired a former Dolphins player. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. This camera keeps losing connection to the Dagnam laptop. I just want to. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah, here's the I guess the Dolphins injury report will be coming out soon. All right, so it looks like Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill both had limited participation in the Thursday practice. Storm Duck, Julian Hill, Austin Jackson, Ifatu Melifonwu, and Dante Trader Jr. all had full participation in the practice. Diaz Scridge, Ashton Davis, James Daniels, and Elijah Campbell were also limited. No surprise, Ethan Bonner, Darren Waller, and Jalen Wright did not participate in the Thursday practice. So James Daniels missed today's practice with an ankle injury. So it's possible that if James Daniels doesn't suit up for this game on Sunday, Keon Smith could start. So yeah, there you have it. The Dolphins are most likely going to be without Darren Waller in the season opener. So make that another player will be short on offense. Guess I should look at the depth. Oh, so right now the tight ends room right now would be Julian Hill and Tanner Con, and then Jalen Conyer IR. We have Greg Dolchich on the practice squad. Rio Sinma says when we traded for Waller, I said he was this year's Odell Beckham Jr. Turns out he's even worse. I apologize to Chris Greer for underestimating how incompetent he is. What if this stupid camera? We're not using this piece of junk for the streams downstairs. Well, from what it seems like, Waller had been having the hip issue, but it had slowly been getting better over the course of the preseason. He was, kept out of practice for so long by design to basically slowly work him back in. And it sounds like Waller has unfortunately had a setback. Best you can hope for now is that Waller is good to go for week 2. But honestly, the Dolphins, if Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Achane are all good to go, there should be no reason that the Dolphins lose to the Colts. And, Tua obviously has to be healthy too. I don't think offense is going to be the issue. It should not in any shape or fashion be the issue in Sunday's game. It will just have to be seen if the defense is able to stop the Colts, stop Daniel Jones. So, what do you think? What do you think will be the result? What do you think will be the result of the game on Sunday? Do you guys have any score predictions? Do you think that perhaps? Do you think the Dolphins will blow out the Colts? Do you think it'll be a back and forth affair? I I do not believe that there should be any situation I do not believe there should be any situation in which the Dolphins lose to the Colts, because that would just mean that things have gone terribly wrong. Real Cinema thinks the Dolphins will win 20-14, a similar game to the Jaguars, the opener against the Jaguars last year. Yeah, well, I'm hoping that this time the game does not have to come down to a field goal, because, Jason Sanders is out with injury and Riley Patterson is our kicker right now. Apparently, the Buccaneers have reached an agreement with starting cornerback Zion McCollum on a 3-year, $48 million contract extension. The deal includes 35.4 million guaranteed and keeps McCollum in Tampa Bay through the 2028 season. Tampa Bay also locked up starting right tackle Luke Godek. How do you pronounce that? With a 4-year, $90 million deal on Tuesday, crossing off two major extensions the Buccaneers and hope to wrap up prior to the 2025 season start. So last so yesterday, last night was the first time In 6,808 days, Schottenheimer was the head coach for a game in the NFL, the first time since January 14th, 2007. And, you know, as far as coaching job goes, I don't really know if the Cowboys' issue in that game was the coaching. The Cowboys' issue was the coaching. Schottenheimer did seem to manage the game clock well enough. It was really the one fault I could find is you you have you have fourth and three. Yeah, fourth and three, and you have Dak chucking the ball like 15 yards down the field. Surely there is a play that the Cowboys can run that can just get the few yards they need without having to keep chucking the ball down the field. If you had to, if you take a look at the current schedule, Sunday's games. Take a look at the schedule here. What would you say is the biggest? What would you say is the biggest possible upset here? Let me share the screen. All right, so you have Kansas City Chiefs and LA Chargers game tonight. Kansas City is apparently favored 3.5 by 3.5 on the ESPN bet line. So the Chargers, I think the Chargers might win that game if the Chiefs don't have their normal amounts of devil magic. So let's see. Tampa Bay is favored in the game against Atlanta. I definitely think Tampa wins. Cincinnati should definitely win. What is wrong with ESPN? They have Indianapolis favored against the Dolphins by 1.5. They think the Colts are going to beat the Dolphins. Like, I will scream if the Colts beat the Dolphins. But they favor the Patriots by 2.5 against the Raiders. They favor the Cardinals by 6.5 against the Saints. They favor the Steelers by 2.5 against the Jets. Jets definitely could pull off that win, that upset win. The Commanders are favored by 6.5 against the Giants. The Jaguars are favored 3.5 against the Panthers, though I think the Panthers might get the upset there. The Broncos are favored by 8.5 against the Titans. Sounds about right. San Francisco is favored by 1.5 against the Seahawks. I definitely think the Seahawks could get the win. Green Bay is favored by 1.5 against the Packers. The Packers are favored by 1.5 against the Lions. I'm picking the Lions in that game. And then the Rams are favored by 3.5 against the Texans. I'd say that all depends on Stafford's health. And then finally, the Ravens are favored by 1.5 against the Bills. The Vikings are favored by 1.5 against the Bears. So yeah, of all these games right here, which one would you pick to be the biggest upsets that you believe will happen? Mainly of all these Sunday games. All right, so I guess what I guess one thing I could talk about is which of these games are going to be the most exciting matchups. I would say Chiefs Chargers. I definitely think would be an interesting game. The Buccaneers and Falcons games always have some crazy shenanigans. Panthers Jaguars is going to be interesting. Steelers Jets is going to be hilarious, I think. And then you have a lot of interesting matchups in the later bit part of Sunday. The Seahawks 49ers, Lions Packers, Rams Texans, and of course Ravens Bills, and then Vikings Bears on Monday night. Okay, so here we go. Dolphins running back Devon Achan calf and wide receiver Tyreek Hill calf oblique are both off of the injury report. They're good to go Sunday versus the Colts. As reported, tight ends Darren Waller suffered a setback and is out. So that's both Good and bad news. Bad news is the Dolphins fans are going to have to wait even longer to see Darren Waller actually play. The good news is that Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill are both good to go against the Colts. So, yeah. So, Darren Waller is out. So is Ethan Bonner and Jalen Wright. James Daniels did not practice today and is questionable. D. Eskridge had a full practice today, but is also questionable. And all of the other players who had previously been on the injury list are off. So yeah, there you have it. Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane are good to go. Darren Waller is out. Now it just comes down to can the Dolphins just win against the Colts and make it look convincing? So yeah, if you had any thoughts on so the Dolphins ruled out Darren Waller and listed guard James Daniels as questionable. Besides Waller, Ethan Bonner and Jalen Wright are also out. And D. Eskridge is also questionable with a concussion. James Daniels did not practice on Friday, but Eskridge was a full participant. Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, and Ashton Davis practiced fully on Friday and have no injury designated. Daniels sustained a left ankle injury during Thursday's practice and was not spotted in the locker room on Friday. The highly regarded interior lineman who sustained a torn right Achilles in Week 4 for the Steelers last season is a key cog in the new-look Dolphins offensive line. Keon Smith is listed as Daniels' backup, but veteran Daniel Brunskill also is a starting option if Daniels cannot play. Keon Smith has permitted 3 sacks and 8 pressures in preseason. He has played 70 offensive snaps in the regular season, all in 2023. So the Dolphins have only 2 healthy tight ends right now on their 53-man roster. Julian Hill and Tanner Connor. They will likely need to create a roster spot for practice squad tight end Greg Dulcich or Hayden Rucci. By league rule, Miami can elevate 2 players off their practice squad for Sunday's game. One will be kicker. One will be kicker Riley Patterson, per general manager Chris Greer. The other elevation could either be a running back, Jeff Wilson Jr. or Jermichael Hardy, or a tight end or a guard with Braden Daniels an option. A position that isn't supplemented through a practice squad elevation, running back or tight end and or guard, could be filled by releasing a player off the 53-man roster or placing a player on injured reserve. McDaniels said that placing Ethan Bonner or Jalen Wright on IR has not been discussed. The Dolphins need to promote or elevate a running back from the practice squad because they only have two healthy running backs on the 53-man roster, Achane and Ollie Gordon. Roster moves must be submitted to the league by 4 p.m. Saturday. Quarterback Juju Brents, who was the only player awarded to the Dolphins on waivers after roster cutdowns last week, said Friday he was excited that Miami claimed him and appeared eager to return to his hometown to play against his former team on Sunday. Brent, a former second-round pick, has missed 23 of possible 34 games due to injuries. His size and skill set appealed to the Dolphins. After the Dolphins claimed him off waivers, General Manager Chris Greer reiterated he really liked me coming out of the draft, Brent said. He liked my talent, what I could bring to the team. His strengths, quote, I'm physical, I know how to use my length. I'm definitely physical at the line of scrimmage. I'm the ultimate competitor. There are not a lot of guys as big as me who can play corner. When I get a chance to be able to tackle, make sure my presence is felt. Whenever the ball is in the air, try to make sure it's my ball. So yeah, that's what we've got. That's what we've got is essentially calling the latest injury report came out and Darren Waller is listed as out. Darren Waller is listed as out. D. Eskridge and James Daniels are both listed as questionable. Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, and Ashton Davis are all off the injury list. They're good to go, which is good because I need Devon Achane to be healthy and giving me my fantasy points. So yeah, that's what we've got is Darren Waller being out, Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane good to go. Collins says, "Oh my bad, Ben. I saw that Waller was doubtful earlier." Yeah, well, the Dolphins just released the Friday injury report like 10 minutes ago or so. Yeah. So yeah, they're really. SoFlo says this game's gonna be so bad. 13-10 final score. I don't know who wins. Tyree killed Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane. They better combine for more than one freaking touchdown. That's what you seem to be implying is neither team gets more than one touchdown. Athletic Boom says this is a must win for the Dolphins. Can't afford to lose to the Colts game one. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Colin, you're excited for tonight's game? Yeah, so am I. Well, there I do not have any fantasy stake in the game. There I do not have any Chargers or Chiefs players, and I believe neither does my opponent. Let's see. Huh. My dad, Jaws. He does have Dicker the kicker. So that's basically the one player of all the players tonight that either my dad or me will care about in terms of fantasy. My opponent has no Chiefs players or Chargers players. I don't have any Chargers or Chiefs players. Yeah. What are your predictions for tonight's game? Let's hear them. Yeah, hopefully there's no crazy delays like yesterday. Well, tonight's game is taking place in Brazil. Tonight's game is taking place in Brazil. So there's that. So yeah, last night's game was pretty. It was pretty fun to laugh at the Cowboys yet again. Like CeeDee Lamb, bro. How do you drop three different passes? Hmm. All right. I think I'm gonna go ahead and sign off early this afternoon. got a long weekend ahead of me. Colin says, hopefully a high scoring game, and both Hampton and Ladd have a good game since you have both of them in fantasy but in different leagues. Yeah, I think the Chargers might actually get the win tonight. SoFlo says Ollie Gordon and A-Chan. SoFlo is predicting Ollie Gordon and A-Chan scores a goal line touchdown. Our backup kicker goes 2 out of 3. Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren score touchdown. Colts kicker goes 2 for 2. Final score 20-24 Colts. Oh, you realize what you just said doesn't make sense. 14, 17, 20. Either way, you're not confident. Yeah. Well, I'm fairly confident. We got Tyreek, we got Waddle, we got A-Chan. Tua has not had his head turned into jello yet. The Bills put Tyler Bass on injury reserve. I wonder who's their kicker then. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm going to be signing off. I'm going to be signing off here. Jaws and I will see you on Sunday at 1 o'clock for Dolphins Colts, and then we will see you at 8:20 Eastern Time on Sunday for the Bills and Ravens game. SoFlo says 2 very mediocre teams. The under will hit, and it's a coin flip who wins. Well, the whole idea for the Dolphins was that they could get better as a team and get themselves out of the mediocrity. What better way to test that in week 1 by going up against the definition of mids? Playoff delusional mids, might I add. So yeah, thank you for joining me this afternoon, and yeah, we will see you tomorrow. We will see you on Sunday at 1 o'clock, and then again at 8:20 for the Sunday night's game, Ravens Bills. SoFlo says the saving grace is that our secondary sucks, but so does Daniel Jones. Yeah. The Colts had a quarterback competition between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones won. That should tell you all you need to know about the current state, the absolute state of the Indianapolis Colts. I'm hoping for a convincing Dolphins win. And then I want the Dolphins to follow that up with a win against the Patriots in week 2. All right. SoFlo says, to be fair, Richardson's finger broke in half. Yeah, I mean, that is a big ouchie, but still, the Colts drafted this kid 4th overall, and he just lost a starting quarterback competition to Danny Derps. The Dolphins should be a real team a real NFL team would not just beat the Colts, but wipe the floor with them. So yeah, let's hope that's what happens on Sunday. All right. I'll see you guys next time on Sunday. Take care until then.